Hey, welcome to the live stream. It's me, Michael Zinn, and you can see I'm by myself. I just wanted to pop on for a minute to tell you that today's show is live. I am having a guest, a very special guest who's been here before. Christopher Allan will be with us tonight. And I just, Jesse is not going to be here. Obviously, he's celebrating Julie's birthday. But he did want to be with us, and he did want to pre-record an intro. So we did that earlier, and I'm going to play that for you before we start the show, and then I'll be back. So it is live tonight, even though this is pre-recorded. So hang in there with me. I'm recording. So
welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Are we doing like that, like an intro, like a fake?
I don't know. All right, we're pre-recording this. Wink, wink. Michael will be here in a minute, but it's Julie's birthday. My girlfriend. I had to spend some time getting some dinner with her around the time that we normally record the show. So we're pre-recording. But yes, welcome. Hello. It'll be great after we do our introduction. How you doing, Michael Zinn?
I'm doing great, man. I just premiered a show I've been working on at Tied In last night for Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
Oh, cool! I love Jackie Martling. He's a good guy.
It's so cool working with him because I can remember being 15 and calling the joke line and listening to his jokes, and it's such a classic. His chuckle is just like, it's just great. So it's been cool working with him, and the show is really great. It's called standupmemories.com. Standupmemories.com.
Oh, cool.
How you doing?
That's awesome. I'm doing great. I just got back from Vegas over the weekend where I was picking up my mom's old Spider that they were getting rid of in Vegas, and it had been like sitting in a showroom. They were like selling it. And my mom was like, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yes, I do." It's like got this great custom leopard paint job on it.
I saw the pictures. I was like, "What did Jesse buy? What's going on?" But now it all makes sense.
Yeah, it's like people who ride motorcycles are like, it's not a tough drive bike, but it was a free bike, hand me down from my mom, and it's so awesome. I love.
And you're living in sunny California. Why not drive down the Pacific Coast Highway on that thing?
It looks like a Batmobile, a Bat cycle kind of thing. And out here in Los Angeles in particular, people are really just not mindful of the bikes on the road.
Right.
So I like it because it's wider in the front. It's a little easier to see just on the street where people know when you're around. And people love it. It's just such a cool bike. You get so many questions about it. But dealing with some it's sitting around issues, so I got to take it to the mechanic tomorrow, and hopefully that'll
loop it all up.
I didn't get to drive it back like I wanted to because right now I can't take it over 50.
Right.
But I've just been driving it around locally, and so cool. Feels so cool.
Definitely cool, man.
Yeah. And then it's Julie's birthday today. So I just went out and got her some little things for her present, for presents for her birthday and stuff.
Nice.
And she's been happy with these, but we're going to go out. We're going to celebrate in a little bit. So I had to pre-record. But, it's funny. I've been having such like a good spiritual week.
Awesome.
Good vibes. I've had that thing in my mind of like, if you smile, you can't feel bad. And and I realize sometimes the biggest um I don't know, problem for people to change their mindset is they allow themselves to just sort of like keep returning to the previous setting that they were on. Like I'm
Mhm.
on a setting of, like, and you
Right,
wake up
right,
and
right,
you're
right.
like, and I think, if you can consciously force yourself to kind of be like, yay, it's a day and I'm gonna have a nice time and woohoo, like it's a little bit harder
That's
to
the
find
philosophy.
yourself in that state.
Yep.
There's I've been meditating the other day, and I had this it just applies to so many things, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to think of other examples at the moment, but my father is famous for a song called "We're Not Going to Take It," and on the other side of like, I just sort of like had this like inspiration of like, I'm going to write a song called "I'm Going to Take It." and and as
Oh,
I
that's so
was
Jeffy.
thinking about that, it became, I'm gonna take it all the way.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny how pretty much everything, when you look at it, can take on a new positive meaning, a new negative meaning, depending on how you look at it.
What
Like
the
somebody's
intention
giving
is
you
behind
a
it.
gift, and you're like, I'm not gonna take it.
Right.
Like, but it's a gift,
Right.
like,
Right. Right.
if you
Right.
say like, I'm gonna take it, you're taking all their crap. No, I'm
Right.
taking it all the way to the bank. I'm taking it to the moon. Like it, any
Jeffy,
situation.
I'm really surprised to hear this. This is great.
Yeah, it's really it was just like, to me, it was just such a good metaphor about how anything can be flipped.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
comes down to this universal law, that we talk about all the time, of this polarity. And essentially, there is no good and there is no evil. And you know, I keep coming around to this same thing, and we've been talking about it a little bit past few weeks, of if you keep shrinking down your perspective, you never run out of anything to see. It's sort of
Mhm,
like the
mhm, mhm,
size and the scope of the thing. Like you
mhm.
can infinitely shrink your perspective and like narrow the thing down.
Right.
And that literally, between all things, any delineation between one thing and another, every little loop, there is this separation, and
In
that
between, yeah.
separation is this infinitely small space of nothing that goes on for forever. And essentially, like that, there's like eternity between everything. Just like the idea of delineation on any level, we're just surrounded by this calm nothing, this
Right,
this
right, right.
peace.
Well, that wasn't that your name last week? The infinite spaces in between or something?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's really interesting, because essentially what it means is that when you're looking at good, let's say, and then bad on the other side,
Mhm.
and the center, which what we think of as balance, that balance is infinitely small. And when you really get down to it, good and bad are this close to one another.
Mhm,
They're
mhm,
right next to each other,
mhm.
on top of one another from your perspective, because it just keeps narrowing and narrowing and
Right,
narrowing.
right.
And like balance, true balance is this thing,
Yeah.
and far on the right is like you give somebody a hug, and then far on the left is you knife somebody in the back, maybe. And then you just kind of start creeping down. You said something rude. You said something nice. You thought something rude. You thought something nice. You had sort of an energy of, I'm separate. You had an energy of, I'm together.
Right.
What's the truth? The truth is both things back to back, just stacked on top of each other in this
It's
tiny,
all the truth,
tiny,
right.
tiny little bit of balance. And that balance is, you know, it's like that guy that you find to be too much. He's a blowhard and all this. It's like if you keep scaling him down and further
Right,
down and further down, eventually you get to a place where his bad is almost good.
right, right, right.
It's just the unique
Yeah,
way that
yeah.
he is. It's not so much that it's really bad.
Right, right,
It's
right.
the perspective that gives your perspective meaning, you
Right,
know?
right,
And
right.
it's really,
Totally.
really
No, that's
interesting, that shrinking of your perspective, and this tiny, tiny little bit of good, you know? When does the temperature become hot?
right.
When does it
Right,
become,
right, right, right.
you know, you might say that hot is like 100 degrees. Well, is 90 hot?
Right, right.
Is 70 hot? Like,
Well, I'm looking forward to
at
this
what
new
point
song.
do we,
Are you gonna actually do this? Like, that I think that's a brilliant idea.
what?
Just the song.
The song? Oh, well, I mean, I've written many different things that like sort of like fit in that thing.
Right.
And there's been a lot of like perspective within that sort of bit. Like I was writing a little song that was like called like So Good It's Bad. And you
Right,
know, and
right,
there
right.
was a similar thing. It's so good, it's so good, it's so good, it's bad.
Right.
You know, and that sort of plays that same thing, you know, that
Right.
you're going up and up and up. Oh no, no, we've gotten to a point of too much. The too much is gonna ruin the whole thing, you
Right,
know.
right, right, right.
Everything in moderation, including moderation. So, you know, there's a lot of bits like that, and seeing um what the reality of the things. You know, I think it's really easy to sort of trump up um you know, everything with like the details of the thing. You know,
Mhm.
when we look at us, like, you know, I think human beings, you know, from my understanding, you know, in meditation, whatnot, you know, we're just as much robots as we are something with a personality and free will. You know, our
Right.
free will is being dictated by the mathematics that essentially went into our creation. The push or pull, or you know, the it's like, did we start at the top of this mountain? Did you start at the middle of the mountain? Well, your reaction to another mountain is going to be different than mine, because I was at the top of the other mountain
Right,
and
right,
you were at the middle of the mountain. So now here we come and we look at a mountain and you're like, that's huge, and I'm like, yeah, it's not that big.
right, 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 right.
It's we're all predetermined.
Right. Hey guys, welcome. I'm sorry, Jesse. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're not here to interrupt. That was just a pre-recorded video. I told Chris that we pre-recorded the video for about 10 minutes, and I just looked at the timeline, and there's like another 10 minutes of that video. So I just wanted to get to our special guest tonight because I am super excited. I haven't spoken to him in a long time, and just like the universe always is giving you the answer. We didn't have a guest lined up for this week. Jesse was like, he called me. He said, "Hey, it's Julie's birthday. Do you mind if you do the show by yourself?" And I certainly don't mind doing the show by myself, but I didn't have a guest lined up. And Christopher Allan messaged me, and he just said, "Hey, bud, how you doing? I just wanted to check up on you." And man, what love energy is that? And the universe telling me, "Oh, you haven't had Chris on the show in a while. Maybe Chris will be on the show." And I reached out to him, and he said yes. So here he is. Welcome, Christopher Allan. What's up, buddy?
What is up? This is what I get for checking up on my friends.
That's right. You get to be on the show. Oh, and look
Yeah.
who's saying
Well,
hello. What's up, Ellen? Ellen Sager is saying hello.
oh, that's so nice. I see so many people in the comments that are saying, they were able to, and it was my pleasure to be able to go on just for a moment on my own live stream to do something, not out of ego, to help friend. Let's take my people that watch
I
every
love
week
it.
and let's try to bring it over to you guys.
Thank
So,
you so
you
much.
know, of course you paid forward and it's all good. I mean, for people to just watch on Facebook and spend their hard-earned time on a Thursday night, that's valuable. So whatever, whether it's my show, your thing, our thing, this is like a cross-pollination
I'm
experiment right now
loving
on
the energy
Facebook.
that you just brought into my space, man. Thank you so much. Seriously.
Oh yeah.
You're the
By the way,
best.
just before we
Yeah.
start, I have to do my customary pouring of this bottle of wine I just popped open.
I
If
was
you
thinking
can,
of having, I was thinking of bringing some wine. I have some water, but I'll toast with you.
how dare you?
I
How
know.
dare you
Well, it's not
ask me to
Wednesday. It's
not
not
do
Wednesday.
my wine and spirits?
No, you.
And so
What's
this is the thing, Mike, is it turns out that the busiest day for my private clientele is always Wednesday nights. So by the time that I decide to pop open a bottle of wine, it is just I'm so drained and tired. I was like, we'll try to do Thursdays. And so I've been since the new
Oh,
year
you've been
trying to
doing
do
Thursday nights.
Thursdays.
I didn't realize you
Yeah.
switched over.
Yeah, some nerve. So you have some nerve, and the fact that I can't just throw this
Yeah.
glass of wine,
Oh, look
it's
who's here.
okay.
Janice is here. She's saying, "Hey, Chris." and also saying congrats to you and Mari.
Oh
Uh,
yes, thank you.
Very cool.
Oh
I don't know
man.
if you want to tell everybody what she's congratulating you about, but
Oh
congratulations
yeah,
to you as well.
absolutely. So we just got selected to be on HBO's Swingers. No, I'm just playing. I just got engaged and we're in the midst of planning a wedding.
That's
So
awesome. Congratulations.
yeah, and I haven't
Mari
had a
is
sip of
so wonderful. You
oh,
what's that?
she's so great. I haven't even had a sip of wine and I came up with that stupid joke all myself. But I'm systematically on Facebook becoming an alcoholic in front of the whole world right now after like a 6 month run of doing these live streams. But
Right,
I really think our shows really have a lot in common. And that's why I wanted to bring people over and have this discussion because
awesome.
sometimes, even though I've been doing this for as long as I have, it's very awkward for me to just kind of host a show by myself because I'm just talking to just a little dot on my cell phone. And
Right,
it's
right,
just so
right.
weird to interact with you and a good friend and someone who we share a lot of things in common. This is really cool. So I'm excited. And do you like my I'm in the deep sea ocean tonight?
I always loved your color scheme, but it's looking wonderful, man. And it's what inspired me. I mean, I'm not even going to say where I'm at, but this is my galaxy. You're in your universe.
You are
I'm trying to
in
keep up with
parts
the chat.
unknown.
Everybody is going nuts here, dude. You brought like a whole freaking posse. It's crazy.
That's my
Um,
one spirit posse, girl.
I love it. I love it. I want to say hello to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live stream. I saw Donna Drake was here. This is amazing night. You brought a lot of good energy, my friend. Thank you for that.
Cheers to all of you. Thank you for joining
Cheers.
me. And I'm excited. Life's good. Just blew a bunch of money on this wedding coming up. And so
Life is great. I will agree with you. I think there's so much going on, and sometimes it's hard to focus and be excited about living in this day and age. But it's when you really go inside and stop worrying about what's outside. Whoops, stop worrying what's about outside. That all of a sudden you see the light. You know what I mean? The light is inside, and when I did that in the last couple of months, things are going great. I don't know if you heard earlier, but I'm super excited. I'm going to give myself a little plug before we
are
get
you
into
pregnant?
your stuff. I'm not, but I've been working for the past couple of months. I've been working over at Tied In Studios. It's been amazing, but more specifically, I've been working on a show with Jackie the Joke Man Martling. And I don't know if you know who he is. It's probably more of a little my generation, but he invented the joke line. So like the 1-800 numbers, you would call 922 wine and you'd get on the phone and you'd listen to him just rattle off a bunch of jokes, you know what I mean? And in this energetic frenzy, like, I'd have to play some for you. It's really great. And then he went on to be Howard Stern's head writer and like had a really, really successful career and then a really successful kind of fall from grace when Howard Stern's contracts were being renegotiated, and he didn't want to renegotiate because whatever it was. I'm not going to even get into that, but he's got a nice level of fame. He's an amazing, amazing guy, and I'm just going to bring this up. So we have a podcast called Stand Up Memories, and it's him and his friend Peter Bales, who's another comedian, and they're just kind of talking about the days from getting into comedy in like the 70s and the different comedy clubs. And I mean, they met Eddie
Wow.
Murphy. There's a line on the show that Peter Bales is going, yeah, I told Eddie Murphy he should stay in college to have something to fall back on. So it's just a really great show. And we did a premiere yesterday on standupmemories.com, and it was awesome. It was just so
I'll
cool.
cheers to
So
that. I'll drink to
yeah,
that.
man, life is so wonderful. um, and so as we didn't get a chance to catch up because you were like, hey man, let's catch up, I figured this would be a good way to catch up. So
Yeah, this is the new way of catching up. We're gonna catch up with the whole, everybody.
totally.
Yeah.
And then just an additional note of how amazing the universe is. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Well, I'm going to say it. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to bring it to into being. um I introduced Jackie to my friend Matt Napo, who has a podcast called Mind Dog TV. And he's got a big audience, and a lot of his audience is comedians. So I was like, oh, what if I introduce Jackie to promote the show? And I introduced them, and they had an amazing show together, amazing conversation, both being from Long Island, around the same age, and just like growing up in music and comedy.
Nice.
And that led to a bunch of other ripples. Like another guy that Matt works with asked Jackie to be on his show in the UK. And so now Jackie's going to be on his show. And Matt, I spoke to Matt, Mind Dog, and he's helping me to optimize Jackie's website and YouTube page. He knows a lot about SEO and stuff. But one of Matt's friends who's been on Matt's show a few times is Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong. And he's friends with him. And he was on the show the other day, and Tommy was talking about spirituality and being conscious. And so Matt started talking about my show and said, hey, you should go on Mike Zinn's show. So I may get Tommy Chong on this show,
There
which
you
would be
go. I feel like we should
phenomenal.
have this huge show where we just have readings and we get high and we drink wine and we tell jokes and we
It's
talk
so
about Eddie
cool.
Murphy and like it's just a
I'm so
smorgasbord
excited.
of
It's
yeah. Look
great.
at that.
It's great. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, and again, like you said, I mean, we haven't even gotten into a conversation, but I'm so excited about this platform and what it does, because people like you, people like me, people that we see are using this platform to connect people. You know what I mean? Like there's 50 souls out there who are just connected to us right now, co-creating this moment with us. They're in this moment from their perspective of it. You know what I mean? And it's wonderful. I'm loving it.
Me too.
Yeah, Donna Drake says, I drank chocolate milk. I think
Oh,
is she setting us up for a joke? Oh no, she's saying I drank chocolate
if
milk. She toasted with the wine and she had chocolate
there
milk.
you go.
Nice.
If she put chocolate milk in a wine glass, that's just badass right there. And Donna Drake, I feel like that's something I could see you doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, all right, we got a bunch of people here watching us, waiting for something exciting to happen. Tell me what's going on in your life. I know you were working with the some of the staff from the Maury show, and how is that going? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't talk much about that,
Oh,
but I mean,
oh, I'm
we've
sorry.
been doing something for a
NDA.
while, so it's all good. But soon I anticipate having good news to share and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's one of these things where we talk about consciousness, and I clearly remember in the story that I've always told the producers from the Maury show was that when I was 18 or 17 years old, and the first day of college. I sat down in my first class. It
Mhm.
was like a lecture class, like 100 kids in a room, and it was different. It was like you go from high school to college, and it's like
Yeah,
100 kids and I, had my first page on my fresh page in my notebook, and I started taking notes. And 5 minutes into note taking and writing down what the teacher and the professor was telling, I started drawing, and I'm like, oh, don't do this. Like the first day of college, you can't start daydreaming and doodling. And I had this vision of me on the Maury show. And I drew it,
that's
and I
amazing.
said, I'm gonna be on this show. And mind you, this was before Maury, had anything to do with paternity tests and
Right,
I'm
right,
not
right,
the
right,
father. He was doing like everybody else was doing,
right,
and
right.
John Edward had his big start. It was, John Edward, the famous medium from Long Island, had his show, and it was associated with the same network as Maury. So they kind of did something together, and that like inspired me. And so I remember thinking, hey, one of these days I'm going to be on that show. I didn't never knew the different style and the platform Maury would eventually evolve
Right,
into.
right.
But then all of a sudden I got a phone call 4 years back saying, hey, we want you on the Maury show. And I go, oh God, like what,
What took you
who's
so long?
either that, or I thought like, oh my God, is it one of my ex-girlfriends telling me, are they saying that like they're pregnant and they want to like embarrass me on
Oh,
TV?
snap.
That's like my first, I was like, Maury, what would Maury want to do with me unless it's like something like, oh, yep, I'm a baby daddy somewhere.
That's
Uh,
hysterical.
and so I hung up on them, and I'm like, this must be a prank or it's stupid. Of course not. And then they're like, no, we want to do this one
That's
show a year where
hysterical.
we do things about bringing
You
on
really
psychics
hung
to
up.
the
You really hung up on them.
yes. Yeah,
That's
without a doubt. I was like,
hysterical.
no, this is not Maury, and Maury doesn't do this anymore. Why would he want me unless it's
So
controversial and I want to
funny.
stay away from it?
That is so
But
funny. Be like, not the
but
father.
not yet. One day maybe. But and so they've had me on, every year, and I really am so proud. They had told me last year my fourth appearance that I broke a rating. My appearance was probably the highest rated episode in years on the Maury Show.
Wow.
And so that was really cool. So they have had me back. Even during the COVID pandemic, we did something, this way on the Maury Show. And it just shows you that like there's still this hunger, this thirst for knowledge, this wisdom.
Sure.
And I think more people, buzzword now, it sounds so cliche, of the having this awakening or connecting beyond, but I really think it's wonderful. And this platform opens up so much dialogue and conversation. So
Yeah.
this is why I do it. And I feel like, what's just 45 minutes of donating, your time to be able to just show
Totally.
people like, hey, this is how mediumship is supposed to work. It's not about saying, is there a J name somewhere? Or I'm sensing that, death is sad. It's like, no, just last week we were talking, I did a reading on my show here, and, two sisters were watching on different accounts on Facebook.
Okay.
And I had
Not in
said,
the same location, different place
different
altogether.
location. And I
Yeah.
said there was a grandma who just passed away, and she was acknowledging, like, not just the idea of a ladybug, but grandma's connection to your ladybug. And she said, I just had a baby, and I just took, now that my grandma passed, her stuffed animal ladybug, and I gave it to my newborn child this week. And
The
I just thought that
grandmother's
was,
stuffed animal.
yeah, she had a
Wow.
ladybug that, she had. And now that the grandma passed away, they cleaned out the house. They found the
Right,
ladybug
right.
stuffed animal, and she gave it to her newborn child. And I just thought that was such a relevant, beautiful validation to say, hey, sometimes it just takes that one thing to just say, oh my God, how would anybody know that? And, it's so topical. It hopefully assured them that grandma's fine and she's connected to how
That's
you
amazing.
make sure that your child is connected to their great grandmother still.
Right, 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 right. So what
So,
was the connection with the 2 girls being on watching you at the same
oh,
time?
because at first, one, because at first I thought it was almost a battle of people trying to say this is for me, and I realized, oh,
They're
it's their
sisters.
sisters, and so
Wow,
that was kind of
Chris.
cool.
Oh my God. That's what I love about you. I mean, obviously I've always resonated with energetic, existence and things like that. But I think, psychic mediumship, it was tough to, wade through the people who are, hey, do I have a J name in the audience? You know what I mean? Kind of like that kind of approach. And,
Yeah,
that it's like when I started hanging out with you and working with you, it was like I would have chills all the time, and there was no denying what was happening in front of me. The validation stories that you have are absolutely by far some of my favorite, including the one you just told me about the twins, doing a reading online and a grandmother came through of twins that were in separate places. That's amazing. And they both were like, oh, that's my grandmother. That's amazing.
yeah, it was cool. I don't know if they were twins. I know they were sisters, but they were
Sisters. I'm
definitely,
sorry. I meant
you know,
sisters. That's what I meant.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you. Didn't want to
Yeah.
correct you. It's on your own
That's
show.
it's all good. No, man. Make me
But
correct. I want to be
yeah,
correct.
yeah. But it's those things. And I think sometimes some people, they might like meet me and they're like, oh, sometimes I kind of feel like, I take this work. I don't take me seriously, as you see, obviously, in life,
Right.
but I do take this work very seriously. And so I always try every day of my life never to sound monotonous and
Mhm.
I always try to read people as if I'm the skeptical one in the room and you need to prove it to me before I can deliver a message.
Right.
And so
Right.
I noticed that like my style of readings never really, I never come out with saying like, this is what I think you want to hear. Sometimes
Right.
I'll say
Right. Right.
all these things. I'll be like, hey, so your husband brings up a CPR dummy. And she's like, well, I'm a school nurse and I just bought a CPR dummy this morning before I came here to my reading. And for my school gave me the permission to get a CPR dummy so I can train school nurses. And
Right.
then they go, and then I go, oh, that's like probably the biggest validation of ever. And then still the person goes, so do they have anything to say? And I go,
Hello.
well, they just said that. And it's not a message. It's not like their opinion on something, but
Right.
it's the proof, I think, of,
Mhm.
yeah, what they're saying is through the unique validation of, I am here.
Right.
and I'm with you even before you were next to somebody that you're paying money to connect with. So it's my way to show you don't have to pay money to connect with us. I was there when you were buying a CPR dummy for your school. You know, I was there when
Right.
you took my
Oh,
ladybug
that's a
stuffed
great point.
animal and gave it to
Yeah.
my great grandchild now that I'm
Mhm.
not here.
Mhm.
I'm here when you're just living. And
That's such a advanced perspective. I never heard you express it that way before.
yeah, and it's
That's
funny
awesome.
because I feel like it's like sometimes you have to spell it out for people, and I'm not here to
Right.
be arrogant and sarcastic, like I'm very known for being. But I feel like I'm here to say, like, come on, people. Like, if you go to get a reading with a psychic and they go like, hey, I think your grandma wants to let you know she's at peace, or your son wants me to make sure you know that he his passing was very tragic. Well, if you lost your child, for God's sakes, what else could it be other than tragic? And so I feel like it's these
No,
things that
you're
you're like,
right.
no, you want birthdays, you want anniversary dates, you want names, you want to talk about, things that, nobody would know. And it's these things that I really pride myself on bringing up,
Right.
and that will support the idea that
Right.
this is not meant for just you getting listening, but for your kids,
Right.
for your grandchildren. When they go, what was said in the reading? It wasn't, well, he acknowledged everybody and said, this is how many kids you'll have, and this is when you'll get married. It's, hey,
Mhm.
remember this time. Remember going, one of the coolest things before we start getting into conversation more, besides just highlights. Just last week, I had this whole family come, and they were hardcore, like New Yorkers. Like, they had kind of a little bit of a New York, Brooklyn accent. And,
Mhm.
you know, after like an hour of reading, the woman, the head of the family goes, how would I know it's really my brother? And I was like, well, ask him a question. And she goes, he was a diehard um, sports fanatic. Does he know what we want to do with his ashes? And so right then I was like, oh, obviously you would have to go to Yankee Stadium or City Field or Giant Stadium. And maybe
Mhm.
she's thinking about spreading ashes because or maybe where he coached baseball or something.
Right,
And
right, right.
right then and there, I just said, Kansas City Chiefs. And she goes, that's exactly where we're going to spread my brother's ashes. We're going to Kansas City to spread my
That's
brother's ashes because
amazing,
from
dude.
some random reason,
So
a New
amazing.
Yorker is obsessed with Kansas City Chiefs. Mind you, I'm a musician and I don't even know what the Kansas City Chiefs colors look like. I think they're red and yellow, she told me. But it's like that. It's like those things.
So cool.
Like, that's all I had to say was that Kansas City Chiefs to a bunch of Brooklyn people. And they're like, okay, my brother's here, so
That's
it was just such a
amazing.
cool validation.
That's amazing. I want to go back. I want to try to get some of these comments up. People are just loving this. People are remembering the readings with the twins. I remember that reading. I saw Donna Drake said something that was interesting. Hang on one second. Donna Drake says, "By the way, Chris, what you found in the drawer, bring to your wedding."
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave you with that.
Okay.
I don't know if there was something a previous part to that, um, but people are just going nuts, and I'm sorry. I'm just so engaged with what Chris is saying. I haven't been able to pop up your comments. Debbie says she had the coolest but freakiest dream that she was a medium, and she woke up feeling so calm. I definitely think that that's a good segue to kind of what I was thinking when you were talking. Um, this whole thing, the transfer of energy, the energy exchange, you know what I mean, like that's kind of what you were saying, like just that energy exchange and that validation, like they're here, they were there then, like to kind of make you aware of that energy, you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
and I'm so convinced that by the time that my my fiance does get pregnant, or like I have a kid and they get older, I feel like this is going to be common knowledge. It's like, I kind of feel like we're like in this in between spot where
Oh, we're
like
so close.
our parents, like that's the thing that like amazes me, is because like as a kid, my earliest memories was my grandmother's house watching James Van Praagh on Phil Donahue.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, 20, 30 years ago, I'm like, yeah, hasn't this already been talked about enough people, like that we just accept it and we know? But the thing is, like, some of these people, come along and they still make people go, I don't know if that's real. Or now that like it's like ghost hunters and paranormal,
Right,
they're
right,
like,
right, right,
you don't know what's produced and what's kind of
right.
situated and fixed. Or now with like Facebook and searching people, you don't. There's always this thing where you can go like, well, maybe they're just full of shit
Right.
still.
Well,
You know?
that's what I liked about when, so people don't know the whole story about when we went on a cruise and we just said, "Hey, let's do a show," and then a year later we were doing a show. But part of your intention there was to do a live show so that nobody can say, "Hey, there was this editing going on," or anything like that.
Right.
And man, we had some great readings. So Donna Drake, I think you're getting a reading, Chris. Donna Drake is saying the dresser, your mom, and she's saying it's connected to your dad.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
so I don't know. Again, just hold on to those things because I feel like I'm supposed to let you know Donna's saying that. So
Okay.
there you go. Camille says the validations Chris gives is so comforting. Um, we got a question. Let's see. Hey, Chris, I got a question. I've been told that I'm very intuitive and that I can develop this. Do you have any advice for how to best develop my gift? Great question.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't even have to like think about that. Like you, Matt, you're a part of this wave of being alive in this time where everybody is having an opportunity to make that shift. You
Hmm.
know, so if you've been told that, I feel like that's another thing. Don't ever go to a reading and dare let them tell you, hey, for just an hour, I'm going to tell you how you're psychic. You know, so you leave here and you're like, oh boy, like they made me feel really good because they told me I could do this. And I feel like it's like everybody can do this, people. Not
Hmm.
everybody can do it, should do it. You know, everybody should do it for themselves.
Hmm.
You know, to me, I felt like my purpose in life, which is weird. My purpose in life, I decided to do this was because I had a mom who had the biggest fear of death. And
Hmm.
I thought if I can show her through the course of my life,
Hmm.
then whenever her time came, or
Hmm.
I can get her to live in a better mindset that made her life more richer, you know, and that was my main goal. And ever
And you
since her
did. I was there for it. And you did. Oh man, I just got like chills and almost started crying. That's beautiful, Chris.
I would take her to every show. I would take her to everything. I would come upstairs or out of my office and go, Mom, you wouldn't believe what just happened, you know, in hopes of just doing that. And in the same goes to my family, you know, because I can't read my family because I'm such a skeptic, you know, it's never a good reading, you
Right.
know. But you know, but I'm like, man, if I can help the people I love the most and I can help them, then I did my job here on
Right.
earth, you
Right.
know. But
Sure.
in the aftermath of my mom's passing this past year, I kind of almost feel like, oh, like why am I even doing this anymore? Like, who am I doing it for? And then
Right.
I
Right.
realized, hey, no, like, you
It's
know,
who
that
you
was the,
are. Yeah.
this is who I am now. And I
Yeah.
live it,
Yeah.
breathe it 24/7.
Absolutely. But
And
you know, like you said, I mean, I watched your mom, you know, like acknowledge what you do and who you are, and that's awesome. You know, this is interesting. I've never had this question. Somebody, I think two people said this. Michael, are you a medium also? And I
well,
feel like I
going
can't
back
say
to Matt's,
no. I feel like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
um,
Going back to Matt's question, we all are instruments of God.
mhm, mhm,
We all are that. And never to compare ourselves to prophets or people like Jesus, you know, because we'll get canceled quicker than Whoopi Goldberg. But the idea of, you know, we are all instruments of spirit. We are all middle people, and it's our higher self. So there's
sure.
our conscious self, and then that little robot, you know, steering the ship in our head, you know, that's our soul trying to kind of override the impulses of the human self. And
Mhm,
that's the where the mediumistic capabilities come from. And we all have it. It's just about
right,
learning. And I always
right,
use the analogy as musicians, you and I, anybody can play the piano,
right.
but nobody can play like Billy Joel. But everybody can learn through time how to play the scales and acquire the ability to. They just have to kind
Have
of
their own style
work
and
out their muscle, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So Matt,
absolutely.
if you were told that, I believe that without a doubt. And I really hope
Absolutely.
you, you know, I feel like I represent like millennials that, you know, are in this in between thing. Like, well, my grandpa doesn't believe in this, and my family doesn't know how to support me, but my friends really are just awkward. So I don't know what, and they kind of feel like they're alone. And I'm like,
Right,
no, like I'm here to show you can do it. You don't have to have the
right.
support of your family or friends. Like I always felt like I always just was born with this sense of security and knowing. And I blame that partially on who I am and have always been, and also how my parents raised me. You know, they always raised me, and as an only child, I had plenty of time to go. within myself, I guess, to be able to, focus on this other part of me that now has become my livelihood.
Right. Wow. Amazing, Chris. I'm trying to look at some of these comments that are happening. And Donna, man, you are on fire with your energy tonight. Donna says, Michael is gifted. He time travels a bit. Always
Yeah.
kind to others. Almost died, but came back even more in tune. And you know what? I feel all of that. I feel it all. It's like, it's amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, you get a little trippy back, now and then, so I can see that you time travel and stuff.
You know, I'm overwhelmed right now, to be honest with you. Like with all of the energy and the comments that are going on, and
Yeah,
even
it
checking
actually
in
is.
with you.
It's a night off for me because usually my mind is pulled to the comments, and like after a while, it's like it's hard for me to balance that. So for you to look and I don't have to, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's hard. Uh-oh. All right. So we have some people. I'm sure you get this all the time. Give us what you got. Hold on a second. Thank you, T. I'm not sure where that. Oh, Donna is amazing. I like her spirit. Uh, her spirit is amazing. Donna is amazing. We've got. Hey, Chris, do you see a pregnancy for me in March?
I think I'm actually able to see that young girl asks me that question every week on my show, and I always say yes. I see her getting pregnant. So until she says that she's pregnant, yes, I see you getting pregnant. March, that seems a little. That seems like 8 weeks away. I kind of feel like it might be just after that, but yes, you will find yourself bearing a kid, full term, and being in this complete family, 100%.
That's. I love it. I love
coming
it.
coming coming from coming from just hearing that friends of mine just had a stillborn baby and they were so close for having this complete family in their heads, and they lost their daughter just 4 weeks before she was due.
Mm,
And my heart breaks, and I feel like I always feel like that's a whole other conversation in itself. It's like, wow, how does one cope with that type of loss, of anticipating something and just at the last second it going awry, and then it's almost like, wow, and the mom still has to give birth to
can't even imagine.
that,
Yeah.
and them, but they're still as much a part of our family as anything. Anything that has a
Right.
pulse, a heartbeat, and a soul, even if that soul is
Mhm.
because like however old you are,
A
you're
part
also
of the
that
flow.
plus 9 months, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So
Right.
you know that their daughter was alive for a period of time, and
Right.
just because the heart stopped and wasn't able to open her eyes into this awful world we know as Earth, beautiful as well, doesn't mean that it
Good
goes
save.
away.
Good save.
Good save, yeah. What type of psychic would I be
Kimberly Ann
saying this
says thank you.
beautiful?
I don't know if she's ever finally resolved that question and said thank you, but she's saying thank you now. um, so I did
Keep
see.
asking.
Yeah, I keep asking. Here's a good question, Chris. Have you felt your mom around since she passed?
Oh man, it's the whole the thing that started me to write my book that I'm writing. It has been my mom's journey through having this fear of death and having a medium as a son, and just always trying to kind of have this, my mom believed in me and she supported me, but she still, even to the last year, had always had a hard time just applying it to herself.
Sure,
She's
she
like,
held on to her
I
own beliefs. Yeah,
it wasn't so much belief. I think it was just the fears, like almost like,
Mhm.
she was kind of just so stubborn. She didn't know how to think the way that I think.
Right, right.
And that's okay. You don't have to be me,
Right.
but she believed in me. She just had a hard time applying it to herself, you
Mhm.
know? So, but when she passed away, me and my fiance were the only ones that had still been on the side of my mom's bed. And, she took her last breath, and my fiance is the one who pointed out. She's like, "Do you see the lights are going on and off and haywire?" And she saw what I saw, which was her soul leave her body. We both
Mm,
saw it, you know. And it was just this amazing thing. And I'm like, wow, the woman who had such a fear of death just reaffirmed everything, just watching the last 5 seconds of her existence
mhm.
here in the aftermath of her passing. Boy, have I gotten like experiences. I got hit with COVID so bad a week after my mom passed away,
Wow.
and it was like to the point where I was like, I'm going to be one of these people that go to the hospital and I'm going to have to be put under or something. I was that close. And it took me weeks if not months to just to drive and leave my house again.
Mhm.
And all this time I got a phone call right before Christmas saying, hey, are you ever going to pick up your mom's ashes? They've been here for months. And I go,
Oh, I
oh my
remember that.
God, I've been so sick.
Mhm.
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me go. And I'm like, still not feeling good. And me and my girlfriend just were driving to the funeral home. And the second my car hit the parking lot of the funeral home, my mom's favorite song with me decided just to play at that exact moment. And it's not
Of
even a
course.
single, it's not a famous song. It was just our song. And I was like, oh my God, she's here. She's letting
So
me
cool.
know it's about time you pick me up.
Right.
And the weird thing is it's gonna be the song I walk down the aisle to. So
Oh,
it's
that's
almost like my mom was like, hey, this song we know. And it was just those things, music. Who am I even also to say that, my mom also came through within 24 hours of passing away. Me and my girlfriend and my closest cousin had gone out to the diner just to kind of say, all right, let's get together now that the worst is over. And the entire time eating breakfast, hours after my mom passed away, every song that I ever played to my mom, for my mom as a musician, played in succession to the
wow.
point where my cousin was like, are
Oh
you
my
syncing
God.
the playlist
What's going
overhead?
on? Yeah. What's
And
going on?
I
Sunshine's got
and,
chills.
and so we grabbed the waiter, and I'm like, why is every song that nobody knows just me playing? Who's doing this? And she goes, I did it. I put it on John Mayer. And for some reason, there hasn't been one John Mayer playing this entire time. It's as if somebody hijacked the radio. And I was like, it's my mom. And, my girlfriend whipped out her phone and just recorded the entire 40 minutes of every song that has ever
Wow.
meant something to me, and my mom. And it's just so cool. And it's not like those songs that just are the cliche Celine Dion, you were my
Right.
strength when I was
Right.
Mariah Carey's One Sweet Thing. These were rare songs nobody
Wow.
has ever heard besides me and my mom.
Of course.
So it's those things. So I have never really gotten a direct reading, or she's never appeared to me, like, oh, here I am in this house still. But I know she's here. And the
That's
last
great.
story I'll just share, just because I think people like this, is for Christmas this year, now that I was healthy this year, I was wrapping gifts, and I decided to put my favorite show on, which is Impractical Jokers.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching, and I'm like, I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to listen to that show, and I'm going to wrap gifts in the dining room. And I'm wrapping gifts, and I'm listening to the TV, and I'm going, wow, this is one long ass infomercial. When is it going to go back to Impractical Jokers? And it went on for like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, what? Like, where did Impractical Jokers go? What's with this commercial?
Right.
And I walk over to the TV, and somehow the channel changed from Impractical Jokers on True TV to QVC, which is the inside thing that is, my mom's remembered in my family for three things: how beautiful her heart was, how giving she was, and
Her
how obsessed
addiction
with
to
QVC.
QVC.
So much that was her sing me to sleep every night
Oh my
thing. It was.
God, that's so
And so I
funny.
was like, oh my God.
That's
So
crazy, dude.
and it was, yeah. So it was like those
So
ways.
crazy.
My mom's like, I'm in the house. I'm here. I'm a part of you. I'm still connected. And
Yeah.
it's another way to realize, like, it's not just going to mediums or
Right.
hearing that voice. It's these other ways to say,
Right. Right.
in the sound waves, in
Pay
the music,
attention to the
in
universe. Pay attention.
exactly.
Yeah, man. So awesome. I love your mom. Your mom is just beautiful, beautiful soul. Christopher Francis says, Christopher, please help another Christopher, a repeat client of yours. I think I finally, after years of searching, met the man of my dreams. Can you get any read on this situation?
Yes. Is he not from another country? Is he actually someone who you met domestically? But in the previously, were we connected to somebody who was of a different ethnicity? And has this just happened in like the last like 2-3 months?
There you go. We'll see what happens. We'll get this back. I'm not used to. I don't do what you do, so I gotta like watch for the response and all that. Right away.
Joe says he is domestic. Did we have a relationship that was like international flair prior to this one coming into your world?
Christopher Francis getting a live reading right now on the
Different race.
live stream.
So I feel like that last one feels like It was as if like there was too much going on to actually be able to say let's ground each other and build a relationship without all the distractions that that person was involved in.
Mhm.
This one feels like it's very um low key, but it feels like it's almost like, well, that's the perfect dynamic you might need to be able to just be able to focus on how you feel, knowing that you have equal support. I feel like there's a more of a mutual where we are in life type of thing going on with this new person. So I think this person is the best shot of ever to being the one that maybe you know, you get engaged to like me.
All right. Good answer for Christopher Francis. Now people are coming in with the questions. Angela says my TV would turn itself off after my dad passed. Oh, turn itself on after my dad passed. He loved watching old movies on TV. Yeah,
Yeah, he also loved
energy, man.
hiking up your electric bill too. So that's, I guess, his
Energy,
dad.
man. It's all energy. It's great. Holy moly, these comments are coming in wildly. Um,
And it's the thing where, like, while you're looking at these comments and figuring out what to address, like,
right.
when like the thing is, I guess every medium receives information psychically, hence the word psychic and psychic medium.
Hmm.
But my thing is like, I do believe in fate
Hmm.
and destined moments, but
Hmm.
there's a big part of our future that is still up in the air and not concrete. It's what we make of it. So
Hmm.
when people ask questions about like, what happens in the future, those are the ones I'm like, well, it's whatever you want. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, but these beautiful questions about like, uh, can Chris tell me if my brother's around me? Well, that's another
You know,
question.
it's so
I feel
funny
like,
because I
yeah,
was just going to click on that one, and I was going to say, I'm like, I know what Chris is going to say, and here's the thing, Leela, Ninja Kitty,
Lily.
as we call her, Ninja Kitty is
Is that
one of
what
the,
she puts on her taxes?
she's a regular at the live stream. I feel like she knows. I feel like she knows the answer. You know what I
And I
mean?
feel like that would have been exactly my answer. I feel like you already know the answer.
Yeah, yeah. And so there you go, Ninja. You know the
What I
answer.
will say for 15 seconds of your time,
Hmm.
Mike, is somebody
Yeah.
named Amanda.
Hmm.
They bring up somebody who had neuropathy of the feet or complications from diabetes, I'm seeing. And I'm also supposed to bring up the association with who would be like, not you being Amanda, but who would be like Anita, Amy. There's another AM name that I'm supposed to bring up around you. And also, besides whatever you're writing that says something about this week having some association to
Yeah, her
your
nana's passed.
grandma,
Yeah, yeah.
I also feel like it's important for you to know that she's got the Gramps with her as well, and that this month has another association with the nuclear family other than tomorrow.
Oh,
So I wonder
wow.
if she can validate that in the comments below.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm watching. Um, Here's a little testimonial. I had a reading with Christopher and some homework after. I was encouraged to be more intuitive and listen and watch for those signs. They have led me to many good places.
Ooh.
This one's weird. I'd figure I'd ask since the reading every time I step out on my deck, a red cardinal, dot, dot, dot.
Oh, that's an essay right there.
Yeah. Um, so Ninja Kitty says, thank you. That makes me happier than you know. And all I'm going to say to that is, well, you made yourself happy there because you just looked inside and you said, I do know. Donna Drake
Uh,
is saying Christmas. We got to write everything Donna says down, I think, just in case later it's like, oh, I know what she was talking about.
yeah. What's in that chocolate milk?
So, no, that's Aubrey. We're looking for Amanda, right? I don't see Amanda. Oh, here she goes. Uh, Neuropathy in the feet. Amelia would be another A name.
Yeah, AM, just like Amanda, like I said.
Yep, yep.
So who's Amelia? Is that
Oh,
like the younger
there's two
generation?
Amandas here. There's two
Oh,
Amandas. My heart dropped. Chat with this Amanda. I think she's saying I don't know what she's saying. You're better at interpreting these things. You're just working through me right now. I'm just like I'm trying to intuit a little bit.
so the Amanda number one is saying Amelia is her cousin, so she's also
Yes.
the one who lost the grandma whose anniversary is tomorrow. What else does this month of February mean for your nuclear family other than grandma's anniversary this week? And also there's the idea of the gram sets across, but somebody's known for having what would be, they died from sepsis. So they either came into the hospital and they attracted some kind of infection that killed them. But they're showing me that around you, Amanda. And also they're trying to get me to say, and if you get this, I'll be flipping. You'll see, I'll go crazy. Did anybody ever dress up in like as a party clown, or like do some kind of form of like dress up entertainment, or like children's parties, or did they ever like dress up as an elf at the mall, at Santa's workshop, or do some kind of
Pretty
photography
specific.
costume? But I'm seeing that around you.
Yeah.
So
She was
uh
septic.
okay, so just grandma's way to say, I'm here, let's celebrate tomorrow, but not the death, celebrate her rebirth into the next life, knowing that sepsis and heart failure and hospitals that gave up on her are all behind her, and she's here with Gramps calling out to you and also the other Amelia. So that's what they want me to make sure I share. But somebody was like a party clown. I had a cousin who dressed up as Elmo that I'm seeing as the symbol, and I'm also seeing the fact that we're doing a photo shoot because I think we might get married around Christmas, and we're doing a photo shoot. And we're going to dress with something with like an elf kind
You're
of
gonna
photo
give it
thing.
away?
No, I'm not giving it away, but we're doing something with almost dressing up for holidays, and I'm seeing that around you, Amanda. So your grandmother wants me to laugh at this idea that you should be able to relate with too with your family. But I really hope this is their way to say all's good, and you don't have to worry about your grams.
Oh,
The
Donna got it. Janice says Donna got it. Christmas when Donna
no,
says
no, 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 no. The other comment, dude.
what?
The other
Yes,
comment, man.
yes, all of that. My older. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Just like I said, I had a cousin that was Elmo, so does Amanda. That's what you need.
Bravo. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Amazing.
It's
I love
her
it.
way to say the idea of, what the emotion, the memory that we associate with life. It's not just about, the hard goodbyes and the watching somebody suffer on a ventilator in a hospital. It's, remember, Amanda, when life was good and your cousin dressed up for the other family member and did something from their heart and brought laughter and joy to that face. That's the memory I want you to remember and think about life, over the death and the loss and the sadness of people, the fun times with the family. That's what I think is the message.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other Amanda says amazing.
Also, that Amanda, is she separated from spouse, or is she looking for husband number 2 or 3? I know that's please. I feel like that came out of my mouth. That's the wine
Okay.
talking. I feel like there's this idea of kind of not settling down and being very picky, but still like wanting permission to, attract the right person. The way that that Christopher Francis was commenting earlier, that he felt like he just met the right one.
Wow.
If you want to answer, take questions. Somebody's saying,
Sure.
Casey is saying, what is the afterlife?
Let's do it.
What is the afterlife like? Are they happier than ever than they were when they were alive? Do they get to taste food and travel? Just
Ooh.
want them to be better on earth. That's a pretty cool question.
That is a
My
great
answer to you
question.
is this: I do not know, because I am not dead. Number one.
I love it.
Number two, I do think that it's. I'll tell you, like, I feel like there's so many people that I've met who have died and come back to life, like near-death experiences. And they've said like they yearn to not die again, but to be in
Back
that
in
state that they were in.
Yeah.
That it messed
Well,
them
it's like
up for
I've
years.
heard, that it's like the ultimate. Everything
Bliss.
is bliss. Yeah.
So
So why would
you
you not
realize
want? Yeah.
exactly. So I feel like, yeah, it's better than this where you're here. Also, you have to, you have to worry about gaining weight probably also. So you can eat whatever you want.
Right.
Could eat. But I do feel like it's just this idea of realizing that it's not so much the afterlife, it's like the before life too. So just imagine what it's like to be like away from your home and your family for so long that you get you and what it feels like when you arrive back home.
Right. Wow.
That's the feeling.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe the bliss. So Amanda says she has finally found her boyfriend.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I guess so. I really hope. I feel like, you and Chris, this is about finding love, holding on to it, and let's making this 2022 the best 22 we can have.
Yep. All right. I had to figure out where that one was to turn it off. Oh boy! Wow, Chris,
Um,
this is great. I'm feeling a little bit of what you do. It's cool.
yeah, well, chime in because I think the reason why I take to you, is because I see a lot of myself in you.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
not just the idea of there's an artistic side, there's such a
Sure.
creative side in you. You take it to a whole other level with your creativity in some ways with photography and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you're just so this kind of like this pure soul that just it's not about it to me, there's never a bone in your body, although almost to a fault. That is not money driven or hungry. It's the idea of, hey, just trust in the universe
Hmm.
and just be you. You just are always you,
Right.
you know.
I
And
appreciate that, man.
and
That's powerful.
and something Jesse said in the very beginning of this live stream was the idea of like if you smile and you say have a good day, like that's you're onto something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really,
yeah,
and I do believe that, and I've
yeah.
acquired that from you. You've taught me that idea
Oh,
of how are you doing? You always get that fake answer like, "All right, I'm good."
right, right, right.
And I always go like, "Bullshit, man. I'm psychic. Tell me the truth." But I
That's
feel like,
great.
people don't know how to be vulnerable, but I feel like when people ask me how I'm doing, I really want to say, "Well, my mom died and I
Right.
got a lot." But I really the true answer is regardless of all the hardships, life, I'm good because I'm
I'm
alive.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm good because I want to be. I choose to be.
Exactly, and it's
You
all
know
about a
what I
choice.
mean? So
You
we
can
have.
get stuck in grief or you can learn how to work with death and let it teach you about how life is beautiful.
Exactly. I love you, man. Thank you for saying such nice words about me. We had two people at the same time ask, "Do you believe in?" Well, one said, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" And the other said, "What are your thoughts in reincarnation?"
I think reincarnation is 100,000% exactly what happens. It's again, I'm not God, so I can't prove it. But I know there's a lot of freaking awesome documentaries on Amazon Prime that can prove it because there are these kids that are like, they're 3 years old and they're like saying, "This is who I was." And their parents are like, "What's going on?" And they do some research in the local, Hall of Records. And they're like, "Dun dun, this guy really existed. And he did die this way on this day."
Right,
And I feel like, well, then, like, you don't need to ask me that. There's legit stuff,
right,
just
right.
look at the right spot.
Sure.
And I think that's what it comes down to is all the loss that I've gone through, as much as like I am an only child and I was adopted, and I had a
Hmm.
beautiful upbringing and childhood and life. Life has been anything but smooth and easy for me. But you'll never hear me talk about it. But I've gone through a lot of heavy topics, like since I was a
Hmm.
kid. My
Sure.
parents were always sick. My parents always had deathly, their life hung in the balance all my life, and they just pulled through. Lost my house to a fire. I had all this death, cousins, killing themselves and just all these heavy topics. But I feel like all that heaviness in my life made me recognize how I'm to make this life for myself and what I want out of it. And it
Right,
made me feel closer to God because it's only when you lose things do you try to search and look for it.
right,
So a lot of people might not be on the same page with me until they go through their own heavy stories.
right,
But
right,
it's those heavy stories that will lead them to this idea of, okay, you know,
right,
we can find a cult down in Waco somewhere. Can we drink Kool-Aid and that can kill us? And maybe that's what we should do. Or we can maybe just learn how to find God within and
right,
tap into that. And we realize like, hey, all that awful stuff made me who I am. And it brought this out of me. And somehow
right,
people's deaths actually are the things that, brought you to life
right,
and, or
right,
made
right.
you understand life. And so, I
Absolutely.
do believe these are the lessons. And I do believe this is not our first go round.
Right,
How much can you really, Michael, learn in just if we're lucky, 80 years,
right,
you
right.
know?
In the scope of infinity.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I see a good question here, that I hope you have a nice answer to, because I think it might help some people who are looking for psychics and not really finding what they want. And that is, what would be a reason someone doesn't come through?
Two reasons. It's not the deceased person, but it's the person wanting to get read that's not ready
Hmm.
to hear, things. Sometimes uh it's also just the idea that I truly feel like the person already knows everything that they're looking to want to hear from
Oh,
a
that's a good,
stranger.
right, 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 right,
If I were to go see a medium in Westbury Music Hall here in New York, I probably would not get picked because spirit knows I know.
Right.
So would it be nice to get a reading from someone other than myself?
Right.
Yeah. But is it needed? No. The person down in the front row who just, is doesn't know what I know is
Right.
the one who needs it. So
Amen.
that might be the reason.
Right. Right.
Or spirit wants me to say, hey, don't rely on a third party source. We have
Right.
other ways of interacting with you throughout your life that you have to pay attention to.
Interesting. Interesting. So earlier, I don't know if you remember the cardinal ... but I hit the send button too early. Does Chris know what the red cardinal since my reading with him means? So this is somebody who you've seen and has since been having appearances of a red cardinal.
I guess just whatever everybody associates with a red cardinal. Since I
What
guess
does
I
it
mean,
mean to you? Yeah, what does it mean? You
it's just. I'll tell you
No, it's
this.
not.
I mean, I believe in it.
I wasn't asking. I was saying I was kind of what's the word? Not theoretically. Oh my God, rhetorically
Yeah.
asking her what does it mean to you for her to
Oh, I got you.
make her own interpretation. Yeah,
I really just think it's their ways. I don't, a lot of the times in my readings, I always like to just joke with people like, hey, your sister wants me to assure you that she's not the bird,
yeah. Right,
but I do believe that they can influence light creatures, butterflies that don't have too much. They'll influence their flight paths to be able to kind of go to us, and find us.
right,
And
right,
they appear exactly when we're supposed to, you know,
right.
in a very kind of arrogant way. And almost, I always, when I was younger, be like, the cardinal bros are good, but like, you want, when my dad passes away, I want him to like freaking bring a bobcat to my home in Long Island on the front step, and I'll know it's really him. No birds are needed. Give me something that's not found in New York. And I was like, that's stupid, that's silly. But cardinal birds always do seem to appear just when we need them to.
Yeah,
And the funny story is where I'm planning on getting married. It was we weren't sure, and we looked out the window, and my fiance was like, "Oh, look, it's your mom and dad, two cardinal birds just hanging out
oh,
on the
boom.
perch right there." And I was like,
There's the
"All
answer.
right, I don't want to give into this theory, but I guess I'm gonna have to with that one."
So
And I'm like, "That's what it does." The wedding hall and the catering hall was like, "We know he's a psychic. We have to find two birds and release them
right. They
just to get
purposely
his
got those
attention, so we can get
cardinals.
this contract and this deposit to him."
That's hysterical. So I think I want to give a shot at this, and this is kind of a live stream of consciousness philosophy. Our visitation dreams really are loved ones coming to us. So for me, my philosophy of existence is, that it's basically one big energy field. Everything physical, everything not physical. It's an energy field, and that's kind of supports the idea that we're all a part of it. Um, so I feel like when we go to sleep specifically, or when we meditate, we're putting ourselves in that state that is not the physical state anymore. We're entering that thought state. I guess that would be the best way to call it, because now you're in your thoughts, you're in that energy of whatever's happening in your brain and in your soul, and that's why you're getting those visitations, because you're in that same realm, so to
You're
speak.
visiting them. You're
Yeah,
tapping into that realm.
you're in that realm. So that's I like that question, because I've been having conversations and really trying to, what the live stream is trying to do is simplify some of these concepts of, oh, people say we're all connected and we're all one. Well, what does that really mean? So I've been doing a lot of thinking, and a lot of metaphors and explanations have been coming to my brain. So tell me what you think about this one. And obviously, the ocean is a great model for
Are
us
you going to
all.
say fish or birds?
No, no, I'm
Okay,
talking
because
about
I'm
the
going
ocean
to.
as a body of water, right?
Okay.
So the ocean as a body of water is a thing, right? It's one thing, but you can certainly go in with an eyedropper and pull one drop of that ocean out, right? And you can look at that under a microscope and see all the unique qualities of that one drop. It's got similar qualities to the rest of the ocean, but it might have some unique properties now that you took it out. So that is kind of an easy way to describe how we're all part of something bigger, but we're all individual as well. But something to take it a little bit further about perception, one of the things I started thinking were the drops that are at the surface of the ocean have a
Mhm.
completely different perception of existence than the drops that are at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, I
But they're
love that.
still part of the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
that, to me, that kind of starts to give reason and explanation for duality. Why are things so different? Why are some people so loving and some people so awful? Um, it's just perception of where they're at within that bigger energy field. So anyway, I don't want to get too nuts into
No,
the consciousness stuff, but these
I
things have been coming to me. I've been thinking about these, visually almost.
yeah, and also my thing was either you're going to talk about like schools of fish or like flocks of birds. When I look in the sky and I see kind of the birds, flying in like a large group.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I always feel like, hey, that's kind of like us. Like we're
Hmm.
look at all the individual birds, but you almost notice to us it appears like they were almost
Right.
in harmony with each other, almost reading each other's flight patterns.
They're
So
all on that same
it almost
energy. Yeah.
makes one giant bird in my head,
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and I feel like that's kind of like who we are, is we're really just all one, but we're individual at the same time. And I
Totally.
think this is what life is teaching us, is how to figure out who we really are as an individual by kind of leaving that whole oneness,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But it's weird. We're leaving the oneness, but yet we're here to unlock,
Right.
to discover, like, that we are one.
Right. Right.
But I feel like,
By perceiving ourselves you said it earlier actually, and it's something I just made a Facebook post about. You said you see yourself in me, and that is something
it's like you're my mirror.
the universe has been saying that a lot to me, and I've been like almost feeling it, like seeing my reflection in other people or other people's reflection in me.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's just kind of that level of awareness. I had a question here, and I had to go sarcastically and say, have you been hanging around? Is Chris going to do any readings? He's been
I could do two or three.
exchanging energy with a bunch of people here. So anyway, are you about to say something, or are we trolling the comments for looking for some interesting conversations to have?
Oh yeah, if you, I mean, there seems to be plenty. A lot of people are. I don't know if you can fit all their text onto the screen, but
Right. All right. You know what? I like more than the questions of am I going to get pregnant and stuff. I like these kinds of questions. If a loved one passes and their energy or spirit is with you, then they decide to reincarnate back to Earth. Do you lose their spirit presence?
that's an awesome question,
Such a
Terry.
great question. I never even heard that
It's
before.
so good. Uh,
It's so good.
I feel like keep that picture thing on, so I just make sure
Okay.
I'm reading it
Okay.
right.
Okay.
But I truly feel like what's always been conveyed to me is that, if we were to bring all of our essence into our human selves, we would blow the circuitry out of the human brain. So we only bring a little small amount of our essence into each incarnation.
Mhm.
um you know uh, Brilliant minds like Beethoven, I wonder if they were tapping into either the part of the brain that geniuses reside in, or maybe a little more soul energy that was always kind of like, oh, I got this, I'm gonna make show really how music is gonna be taken to a whole other level.
Right.
But I do feel like there's just a teeny amount normally, and so when we pass away, not only do we reconnect and reunite with our loved ones who are there before us to greet us over,
Mhm.
or to become connected to God and our angels and our guides, but we reunify with the rest of our soul self.
Mhm.
So that 80% of ourself is always in the spirit world, either doing whatever it's doing, and there's the duality of us living the human experience, almost like there's somebody right now in this moment. There's another version of each of ourselves watching this tonight, and then there's somebody in the spirit,
Totally.
our version of the spirit world, with a little virtual reality helmet going, you know
I
and
love
that's
that.
really what it is. So
Yeah. Yeah.
even if we choose to kind of reincarnate next go around, that same person with the helmet is still able to say, oh, let me take the helmet off for 10 seconds and say hi to
Right.
you, who's
Right. Right. Right.
crossing over,
Uh-huh.
and
And
reminding you, hey, I'm here.
sure. And wouldn't that also kind of be a great way to explain the instant bond that you feel with certain people and
Sure,
those
because
connections?
yeah, because this is the playground. This is the place to say, hey, go make a fool of yourself and make mistakes and learn from it. But this
Right.
isn't our home, and we went to we've been together back, where we all are, where the school is in the afterlife. This is the stage to perform what we've been practicing back in heaven. So we remember. Oh yeah, I'll tell you that this much, even though my fiance's taking a nap next to me, so I hope she's kind of semi asleep or whatever. When I met my very first girlfriend, when I was like, who I actually like dated for a while,
Mhm.
when I was like 20,
Mhm.
the first second I connected with her, I a voice in my head said, "Oh, you again." And I
Wow.
remember thinking, what does that mean?
What was that? Who
You
said
know,
that?
and then 3 years later, I go, "Do you remember that? Like that first? It wasn't like, oh, she's
That's
cute, or
great.
oh,
Right, right, right. It's like
something out of
you
me just said
again.
you again," and I was like,
That's
that should have been
so
my first
great.
indication of how I should have approached that. Like, why do I feel like, oh, you again? But
That's so hysterical.
I'll never forget that. And then there is
I,
that recognition.
yeah, yeah. So Grammy Lala says hello. I just wanted to say hello back. And then Donna Drake chiming in says, "Yes, yes, the duality. When I jump back in, I have more laundry to do." Which
Laundry
is
always sucks us back in.
which is a good. I mean, I see a lot of people really wanting readings. I know that's what you do. um and I love, I love what you do, but I feel like it's after 10 o'clock. We've been on for a while. I think we've had a great conversation. I could go for another 2 hours. I'm sure you
Yeah.
could too, but I feel like this platform, people get tired, and we don't want anyone being like, getting off and going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." I love all of you people who are here. Thank you so much for coming here and spending this time with us, and exchanging your energy with us. I can't wait to go back and read all the comments and see all the cool stuff that was happening while I couldn't pay attention. And Chris, I cannot thank you enough for just not only being here, but all the wonderful things you said to me. And it wasn't even that you said them; it was just that you expressed them, and I felt them.
Yeah,
and
man.
and not
That's
that
what
I
that's about. It's
not that
about
I
the feel
didn't
good.
feel that before. Obviously, we're close, and I know that I knew those things, but it was nice validation. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. 100%. So keep
Yes.
on being the best version of you, exploring these
Yes.
platforms, the technology that's right up your alley. And it's,
Yes.
everybody here,
So,
thank you
is
for
this is
checking me
this
out.
weekly? Maybe we should think about getting together again.
As if you don't have enough shit on your plate,
Right,
right?
exactly. No, but that's great. I'm not tired. Uh, Thanks for doing this. Again, thank you so much. You know what? We will do this again. Chris and I will certainly be together again. Uh, I love, there was a couple of comments, Chris, during the chat that said the combined energy, that mentioned the combined energy. So, we certainly can look at doing this again. We make
Sure.
no promises. Life is just a big flow of energy, right? Stuff happens, stuff doesn't happen.
I'm stuck in a big blue abyss right here. I'm just flowing, going with the flow.
I'm at the Galactic Chinese restaurant over here. Um,
Is that where you get changed in the morning?
it is, but that's not. It's because I'm in my bedroom.
Oh,
It's
okay.
this
So
is
it is what you're
makes it
saying.
look like a studio, but I just gave away my secrets. Chris, again, I love you, brother. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I'm gonna just call it a night. And hold on, I've got to turn off this comment before I call it a night. How do I do
Yeah,
that?
but as you call it a night, everybody who turned into this live stream over here on the live stream of consciousness for the first time from my little audience, make sure to tune in again. Make sure you follow them. You get alerts when Mike and Jesse come on. And if you want a reading, you can always go to my official website,
Oh,
imstillhere.net.
hold on, I did prepare that one.
Oh, there you go. So
Oh, and you know what? I forgot. We have 50 people here, 45 people here. Angela, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I did put it in the chat at the beginning. There was a terrible situation. A family had a house fire. Chris, I know you relate. I also had a house fire where I lost everything. They're doing a GoFundMe. I'm putting it up on the bottom there. I think I'll also, hold on, let me copy that so I can put it into the chat. This way people can actually just click on it rather than have to type it all in. But this is a family that lost everything in a fire. Just happened, I think, last night or the night before. So if you've got anything that you can give and offer to this GoFundMe, it would
that's a
be.
large GoFundMe hyperlink in order
It
to
is.
get people to follow along. Maybe you
It
should
is.
keep it
That's
still.
why I put it. That's why I put it in the chat.
Okay.
So it's in the chat. If you guys, you can just click on it. Um, if not, you can reach out to me and I can give you the link.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to click on that as soon as we're done.
I did promise that I would share that, because you know what, it's the least I can do, right? I might even click on it and give a little bit. So, again, thank you guys so much. I cannot tell you. I feel it. I feel the love, Chris. It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah, man.
Stick around. I'll talk to you in a minute, Chris, and everybody else. Mwah. Good night. We love you. Peace.